Hey, you're tuning into Toasted Time, where I cook your time with some Reddit stories. Right now we've got Off My Chest, where OP takes off their wedding rings. Our first story is by Necessary Bag. I live and work in a fairly unique situation. My spouse and I are different races. We've always gotten looks, but it never seemed to bother them or me for that matter. They are the same race as our roommates and coworkers. Recently, they told me it was okay if they were rude or excluded me because it's normal for my race to be excluded by theirs. Their culture is very different from my own, and I thought we were blending them, but after hearing we are us and you are you, I realize now, even in my own marriage, my home, and my job, that I'm not welcome. Well, OP, I doubt I have to tell you this, but that is obviously incorrect behavior. And if your husband is not talking about it or not even discouraging that behavior, that in and of itself is also wrong. Does he co-sign it? I don't think I'd want to be married to someone who co-signs that behavior. Anywho, let us continue on to the comments. Starting off from Win Objective. No, bae, it's okay for them to be racist towards you. It is just how we were raised. What the fridge? Ding, ding, ding. That is it in a nutshell. I am curious to know what race you guys are. I'm black, he's Vietnamese. I don't want to generalize, but notice myself in workplace, especially that some Asian nations are extremely, unapologetically racist. I wish I could give you a hug. Also, if your DH excludes you as well, then he is pathetic. Yes, I worked in Vietnam for many years as a darker-skinned European. The amount of comments about my skin color, random people pointing at me in the lifts, and questions about why I still go to the beach were perplexing. I also lived in Malaysia and Qatar, where I never experienced anything like that. Alright, so the first post seems pretty cut and dry, as it is just a blatant racism. And I don't blame you for taking off your ring at that rate, because what are you meant to do? Stay with someone who has already differing views on you, even though you're married to him? That's just wrong. Anywho, continuing on to the next one. Now, before we continue on, I just want to ask that if you are enjoying this so far, that you consider recommending this channel to friends and family, or just people you know, because the help for this channel is greatly appreciated. So, to continue on, and our next story comes from Irritated Mango. I have a roommate who is the polar opposite to me in terms of personality. I'm very outgoing, don't really hold back with emotion, and chatty, whereas he is very reserved, not very emotional, and introverted, but we balance each other out very well. And I knew it was his birthday. It happened yesterday, and he told me to not bother with getting anything for his birthday because all of his friends were out on town anyway, and he was just going to order takeout and watch Netflix. But I still wanted to do something, so after work I grabbed a pastry from the bakery we live near and got him a bouquet of tulips. I gave them to him when I got home, and I was honestly expecting him to just say thanks and go back to his room, but instead he had a huge smile on his face, kept taking pictures of the flowers to put onto the family group chat, and found a vase to put them in. He gave me a really long and tight hug and told me quietly, "Thanks, Mango. I needed this." Turns out it is the first time anyone's ever bought him flowers. He spent the next 5 minutes moving the vase around the apartment trying to find the best spot for them. I nearly teared up and ended up leaving the room. He gave me a really tight hug before he flew back to his country to visit family this morning. Edit number 1. Wow, did not expect this to blow up. Just to clarify, he doesn't call me Mango. He just calls me by my real name, but for the sake of the post, I just got Mango from my username. Edit 2. For the ones who are saying this is a romance happening, there is no chance as he is gay, but I'm glad I made his day all the same. And the final edit, normalize getting men flowers. And now let's go ahead and take a look at those comments down below, because I assume that there were a lot. I got my boyfriend tulips on his birthday in February, and he FaceTimed me crying when he got his birthday flowers and his gifts. We are long distance, so I got a DoorDash order for his flowers and his gifts, and he never got flowers before. Like, never ever. And it was the best reward to see him have happy tears in his eyes and see the biggest smile I've ever seen. You are sweet, an amazing roommate and friend to still think of getting your roommate something for their birthday. And I have to say, as someone who has been perusing Reddit posts for quite a minute now in my life, I have to say I have never heard of a roommate actually going out of their way to get their roommate something for their birthday. Now, not saying that doesn't happen, I just haven't heard of it. So, yeah, absolutely, OP, you are an amazing dude for thinking of a roommate to get a birthday present for. So, congrats on being a good human being. Anywho, there's more comments. I love this. How thoughtful of you. Honestly, I'm now making it a thing to buy all my guy friends flowers for their birthday. I've heard that many men receive flowers for the first time at their own funeral. Lots of guys like flowers too. That is so sad. I believe I was the first to give my then boyfriend flowers. He loved it. We've been married for 30 years. Same! We've been together for 17 years now. I'm not gonna lie. First thing I wanted to do was make a joke about the whole entire drizzle stuff and like soft guy or like, oh yeah, now we getting flowers and I want to make a stupid comment like that. But honestly, I have to just say, I'm single. I shouldn't be here. This is not my comment section. However, I mean, hey, so far what we've heard is 2 stories. We went 2 for 2 on stories of where the ladies get the boyfriend a flower and their relationship goes long term. So maybe there's a science to that. I wouldn't know what the science is, but hey, maybe there is something there, because 2 for 2 stories we have it where people get flowers for the boyfriend and the relationship goes long. So maybe there's something to it. I wouldn't know. But yeah, I'm gonna take my single A out of here, you know, before I start crying unhappy tears about being single. Jeepers. And now for the final story, which comes from Rah. Okay, so hear me out. I had just gotten off a long shift at work and needed to do the monthly big grocery shop with my husband, who also just got off work. We got to the big chain grocery store and filled the cart with what we needed in about 45 minutes of time. Got to self-checkout because they only had 2 cashiers working, scanned all the items as my husband was bagging them, and dug for my car keys that I put in my purse. We smiled to the self-checkout employees and said goodbye as we tiredly walked out to our car. And about 5 hours later, we finally hopped into bed and tried to fall asleep. I always struggle with falling asleep because my brain had a hard time shutting off, but my husband usually hits the pillow and is out cold. So I'm there, lying there as random sleepy thoughts and dreamlike images flash through my mind, and then all of a sudden, I jolt up in bed and shake my husband awake. Has anyone seen the movie Home Alone, and the mother is thinking that she forgot something and she's going through her list trying to figure it out, and then she finally screams, "Kevin!" Well, my husband woke up to me screaming, "I forgot to pay the fridge and groceries!" We ended up taking pictures of all the barcodes on all the items we bought and the amount of each item we fridging stole, so I could run back to the store with my pictures. Thankfully, the lady at the service desk was very understanding as I frantically apologized for showing up at 10:30 p.m. at night with pictures of all these stolen items on my phone and only my word to go off of that I didn't leave anything out. I think my red face, shaking hands, and teary eyes clued her into the fact that I was genuine and felt terrible. So now we always make sure to grab a coffee before a big shop and make sure we actually have a receipt in hand before leaving. And yeah, that seems pretty self-explanatory of a story, so I have no commentary, but we are going to go into the comments because there is more stories kind of on the same era of this. My mom forgot some dog food from the bottom of the cart and walked out without paying. An employee noticed she didn't and followed her out. Once my mom realized that she even grabbed the dog food, she was immediately pulling out her wallet to go back inside. They stuck her in a room for like 2 hours, called the police, and made her sign a waiver to not step foot inside the grocery store for a minimum of 3 years. So I'm very glad to hear you had a good ending in your mishap. Oh my god, I'm so sorry that happened to her. That seems like a big overreaction on their part. the fact she paid for the rest of her groceries and immediately tried to go back in to pay for the dog food before the threat of getting police involved. I know dog food is expensive, but damn. Yeah, this was back in like 2011 in the South, and the specific guy that caught her was a very miserable man and probably hated working at the same grocery store for so long. About a year or two, he started going back because they didn't even recognize her. You know, after rereading this, I have a different take on this, because to be completely frank, if he saw her walking away with an item that she didn't pay for, his assumption is that she's trying to steal it. Right? That makes sense. Now, I will agree with the OP saying that was a big overreaction, because it was. But at the same time, from his perspective, it looked like she was trying to steal the item, and then him quote-unquote catching her in the act of stealing, and then her saying, oh, I'll go pay for it. That kind of sounds like a cop-out, does it not? Like a whole entire, I caught you and now you're going to pay for it. Like, I don't necessarily blame him. Now, overreaction, yes, but I would say that it's not too unreasonable. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm wrong on this point? Anyways. Now, before I end this off, I just want to make it known that I have a Patreon where I'll be posting 3 videos a day, and just to cover the bases, I'll have you know that the 2 videos a day is still going on. But if you want to support me and get a little more content, then you can go over there for the low price of $1. And, as always, the support is really appreciated and will in turn be used to make better and better content as the days go on. But, enough of that. That is about it for those stories today, and if you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to become a fellow breadbag. Though, aside from that, I post 2 new videos every day on YouTube, so I hope to see you next time toasting session. But until then, have a good one.